All right, so Monday the 27th until Thursday, Wednesday the 29th. So Monday the 27th until Wednesday the 29th of October, we're going to be moving through opposition influences between Uranus at the Gemini-Taurus cusp and Mercury at the Scorpio and Sagittarius cusp. What I want to do is I want to ask you to be receptive. Tune into yourself. Stay out of your head and take note of what naturally occurs cognitively and intuitively. And wherever you see that there may be conflicts, contradictions, or opposition to cognitive ideals and perceptions that you have in your local or immediate experiences, concerning Scorpio themes and Sagittarius themes, and you have to relate that to the house themes that you have in your natal birth chart. What are those themes of the house where you have Scorpio and Sagittarius? So, in those cognitive perceptions, you should see, you should think, you should feel, you should intuitively download an opposing idea, an opposing awareness to what you're calculating in your immediate situation. The opposing awareness is going to come from Uranus in reflection, as it is in retrograde or retrospect of what Uranus is picking up and handing to you now that you are ready to know these things, There's certain things that you are ready to realize, that you are ready to notice, that you are ready to download as revelation. And what it is innovative ideals intuitively that you pick up on from Gemini and Taurus themes in your life. What are those Gemini and Taurus themes? What does it consist of? Where do you have Gemini-Taurus cusp in your natal birth chart? Now, for all of us collectively, this has to do with the third and second house. That is matters of what you value and what you perceive. Also, your communications and your resources, as well as your value system in contrast to your peers, your peers. In the midst of that, you're going to see that there are opportunities, innovative ideals that you can use to your advantage against the limitations that you see in 8th and 9th house ideals. 8th house being the weight that you're moving in life, the difficulties that you're processing, the commitments that you are fully invested in, burdens, debts, what you owe to a system, what you owe to a person, what you owe to an institution, what you're expecting to get out of it. Wherever you are investing blood, sweat, tears, wherever there are relationship terms that are intensified in your life where you are fully vested, anywhere where there are transformational processes that are taking place, places where there have been ongoing power struggles, places where truth is getting revealed and it's challenging ideas that you had. It's challenging the facts, the figures, the statistics, the information, the data that you're taking confidence in. The truth is challenging what you have put your confidence in. And that truth is getting revealed, obviously, by the sun's transit in Scorpio. It's now illuminating the pathways that we went over concerning our personal transformations. It's shining light, confidence, and clarity into those transformational details that we now can reflect on and understand in a deeper sense. So, in looking in that opposition from Uranus is lending support into that, saying, I know you see this. I know that's what you're looking at. I know this is what you're seeing in those 8th and 9th house realities of your life. But if we consider what we can do with our 3rd and 2nd house circumstances, there's opportunity. So this is about unorthodox means and approaches to ongoing processes of transformation that prepares us to step into our claim of personal freedom. We're in preparation for that. We're getting geared up and ready to take our chances. We're getting geared up and ready to take a risk. We're getting geared up and ready to take action and not be so detailed about what we're doing, but get to the experience. I need to experience. I need to know what I know. That's the 9th house aspect of this. I need to subject myself to mentorship, experiences, process, adventure, expansive opportunities that allows me to know what is and what is not, to test my theories after all this time. You see what I'm saying? And so we have a cognitive approach to that, where we're at the limitations of our own thoughts, our knowledge, and what we have observed, what we have studied and looked into. But going forward, in order to cross the border of Scorpio and Sagittarius, it's going to require an innovative transition into that mode of ourself. So we're going to have to take risk and chances with our 2nd and 3rd house. That is, we're going to have to take risk and chance with our status in our community, local community. We're going to have to take risks and chance with having the right conversations that may hold some shock value, but you're communicating what is most authentic of your intentions and what needs to happen. Okay? It's not going to be received naturally or easily by other people. And concerning the 2nd house, what you're willing to do to make investments, put your money where your mouth is. In other words, to cross over into Sagittarius to see possibilities of new freedom, newfound expansion in your life. So concerning Uranus, we're going to have to get unorthodox. We're going to have to spin the opposite direction, do what we haven't been doing, take chances on what we have not yet fathomed, or go against what we feel comfortable with. Okay? This is stepping into vulnerability. This is stepping into or stepping out of the comfort zone. Uranus is helping us to put on the mindset that makes that change of tone from Scorpio to Sagittarius, which are 2 totally different modalities, water and fire. So with the limitations that we have in our current circumstances, that 8th house in Scorpio reality has been ongoing for the entire year. For a whole year now. We have been in this Scorpio deep, dark, cold transformation. And to come to the surface, it's like, the light is blinding your eyes. To think that now it's time to expand, it's something that you can't even fathom. Because you're so used to being down and recluse, protected, guarded, healing, transforming, transmuting, moving, dark energy, shadow work. It's been a long time. And so Uranus wants to show you what you have to use to make that transfer into Sagittarius, that is Taurus. It wants to show you also what it looks like out of the duality of circumstances. Duality of circumstances, limitation. I got this going against me, I got that going against me. I got this stopping me and that stopping me. But is that really the case? Because what is an enemy can now become a footstool through Gemini Uranus. Because Gemini Uranus takes the duality of Gemini and it rises it to the wisdom and love. Love as for all is possible when it comes to relationships, and wisdom, all is possible when it comes to process. Okay? And Uranus is tapping us into all that is possible if we are willing to open and expand our minds. Okay? And to consider alternative means. We innovate from where we stand. We innovate with what we have, Taurus. We innovate with who we are with, Gemini. So it's not wishful thinking. It's not waiting on a wish for something else to come in and something else to change. It's going to be an internal revelation that sees new meaning in the circumstances that you already have, with the connections that you already have, which doesn't limit you to expanding into the new, but we're fulfilling the meaning of innovation. Improve upon and make efficient where you stand, with what you have, with who you are. Understand that. So this opposition is very important right now, especially with Mercury crossing that border from Scorpio into Sagittarius, and Mercury is preparing for its retrograde November 9th. So you want to remember what you download during this time. You want to remember what you are conceptualizing during this time, because Mercury's going to cross this border again mid-November. It goes retrograde November the 9th, and it crosses the border again mid-November. So mid-November, you're going to go back over this fork in the road, this riddle of how do I come out of this dark phase into my expansiveness? How do I go ascend from the 8th house into the 9th house, where I am competently and confidently in a place of understanding over my life, where I have the bird's eye view over my life. You see? And so Mercury's going to go back over details that you miss. So what you want to treat this time period like right now is reconnaissance. This is reconnaissance. All right? It's a recon mission. Mercury is performing that reconnaissance for you to go into the so-called promised land of Sagittarius, the expansive territory of Sagittarius, and it's scouting out what is there as opportunity and what is possible. But in retrograde, it finalizes points of communication and points of connection, as well as detailed processes, closures, which that part has a lot to do with documentation, paperwork, things you're waiting for as an email or what's coming in the mail, okay? Closing up these details so that those steps of correction and communications, documentations, and connections can give you the clarity and confidence to step into the Sagittarius expansiveness without having cords and ties still connected to your past life transformational shadow works. Okay? You're going forward with a free and clear conscience, a free and clear mind into that expansiveness. But it takes to go in and then come back, because you have to go in and see the view and collect information. And collecting that information, you have to cross back over the line in opposition to Uranus in order to consult Uranus and say, Uranus, this is the evidence, this is the data, this is what I found. These are the details that I have perceived. This is what I seen, this is what I heard, this is what I wrote down. And Uranus is looking at that like, okay, so we're going to use your resourcefulness and resources. We're also going to use the support that you have available. We also are going to utilize your local connections as resources to make sense of this. I'm also going to lend you a view beyond the duality of your situation so that you can perceive that this is not a limitation in crisis. This is not an enemy, but it's actually a footstool. And I'm going to help you to make sense of that, especially with the data that you gathered in Reconnaissance of Sagittarius coming back into Scorpio, where you make the necessary transformations based on that read, based on that understanding. You see. Now, we can move forward into Sagittarius in the direct motion of Mercury thereafter, free of ties and cords and bonds. Understand? Having clarity and confidence as we're going forward. All right? And so the third time that Mercury crosses over Uranus by then should be at the 0 or 1st degree of Taurus, okay? And this is basically helping us to make changes that disconnects us from the past timeline of how we used to relate to stability. What in your life since 2018 has been a point of stability in your life? Well, that now is going to change. It no longer is going to be how you manifest stability in your life. There's going to be a change. And that change is in Taurus. It's a finality. And this change is going to upgrade what stability means for you so that it is compatible with the Aquarius intention that you have over your life. Okay, so that it is compatible with the Aries-Neptune ideal and concept that you have of yourself and your identity, so that it is consistent with you rising into the authenticity of that first house expression, ascendant expression of who you are in that acceptance. Okay, so these things have to line up, and it's going to take these different steps for that to happen. So, Mercury in Sagittarius is quite different, of course, than Scorpio. In Scorpio, it's about being able to find words, terminology, definitions, being able to name what's in the depth, what's deep underneath. And that's because we have to name, we have to classify, we have to identify what it is that needs to be transformed. We also have to be able to identify what the truth is. And that takes the effort of discovery. It's a process of discovery. And that takes resilience. It takes courage to face the truth as you dig and find parts of that truth, portions of that truth, degrees of that truth that you have to have the courage and resilience to accept once you see it, once you hear it, once you know it. Once you know it, you can't unknow it. So Mercury and Scorpio, we're trying to identify these things. What is this? What does it mean? What have I been trampling over in the dark? Can I name it? Is there a word for that? Is there a classification for this? What is it about? Why? I need to communicate because I have to advocate for myself in the depth. I have to communicate with others on 8th house themes so that other people can understand, this is what I'm going through. This is where I'm at. And this is how you can help me if you want to. Otherwise, this is how I need things to be because we so close to each other in the 8th house. We standing on top of each other. We stepping on each other's toes. So I need to be able to clarify to you and conceptualize to you what I'm going through, how I need to transform, what that entails, what I'm dealing with here, and we're clarifying those things. Also, what we're doing concerning Scorpio, our thoughts are much deeper. Our conversations are much deeper. They're no longer surface when Mercury is passing through Scorpio. It's very deep conversations. It's very real conversations and communications. And you tend not to pretend like you didn't see something or pretend like you didn't know something, and that's because Mars is there. If Mars was not there, you would see it, you would know it, but you wouldn't say nothing about it because it's in Scorpio. Scorpio is to hold and keep secrets. You know what I'm saying? But Mars is what makes you get up off of that secret and make it known. You know? And so that was part of the deep transformation that we had to move through and completion and getting our minds prepared, okay, to conceptualize ourselves out of that depth, out of that deep dark place in our life where we are learning what's going on with my power systems, what's going on with where I am losing power, where I don't have power, where I don't feel empowered, and where I really need to be empowered. Okay, clarifying all of these things. Now, you're sworn to secrecy when you're passing through that with Mercury. Now, in Sagittarius, it gets much deeper. It's expansive. It wants to connect to everything and everyone. It's quite the opposite. It's very loud. It doesn't withhold, information, detail, its thoughts, its feelings, what it has to say. It doesn't withhold anything. It lets it all out just as it is, without dressing it, without perfecting it. It's very raw. It's very authentic. So our mindset is going to take a different tone. It's going to convert to fire rather than water. So what we're looking at and what we're preoccupied with as Mercury goes into Sagittarius is, how can I expand my reality? Scorpio was the depth. Sagittarius is expansion. Scorpio is to go deep. Sagittarius is to go out. Okay? That's the difference. So now it's more of how can I go out? How can I reach out? How can I connect? How can I be on the scene? How can I hit, the streets of this world and gather my experiences? Why? I learned to trust myself. I learned to trust my communications. I learned to trust my own thoughts. So now I'm ready. And what this is really about is collecting experiences that leads to wisdom, collecting experiences that leads to understanding, collecting experiences that leads to confidence, to information that you can unpack towards the direction that you're going in the new world of your new reality that you yourself called in. The ninth house is expansive. It's about higher learning. It's about reaching understanding finally. It's about becoming a student to the world, a student to life, a student to all people, and in turn also becoming a teacher in life, a teacher to all people. At the same time, you are both at the same time when it comes to the ninth house. This is getting out of what is familiar to you, getting away from what is familiar to you, getting out of and away from the connections that are familiar to you as well, expanding. Now, Vesta is there in Sagittarius. So Vesta doesn't want it to be indulged, personal, and obsessive. Vesta wants you to remember the connection that you have with yourself. Vesta wants you to remember that you bonded with your inner child. Vesta wants you to remember, do not betray your inner child. Do not sell your inner child for some connection because some handsome guy came in on a horse or some pretty girl flew in off of a fucking cloud. And now you throw away everything that you work for, of how you bonded, infused with yourself, how you have made a holy presence with yourself. You just betray that because now you got some connection that make you wag your fucking tail. And now you betraying yourself and you starting the shit all over fucking again that you just healed. Don't you fucking dare. You are experiencing, not attaching. Don't start your toxic shit all over again, is what I'm saying. Don't start your toxic shit all fucking over again. Leave your toxic shit at home. Remember what you suffered. Remember what you went through to heal that relationship with your inner child. We have to think of ourselves like fucking crackheads who left our baby under the fucking bridge, and somebody else came and picked that baby up, and you came back and bonded with that baby after betraying that baby because of you having this addiction, this escapism, these habits that left you to betray your you know what I'm saying, your sweet child. And you promised that child and looked it in the eye and said, I'll never leave you again. I'm love you. I'm your father. I'm your mother. You know, I'm here for you. I'll never leave you behind. I'll never leave you astray. You know what I'm saying? And that is parallel to you and your inner child. That's what you did with your inner child, okay? Through the Cancer, Mars, retrograde, and the Scorpio stellium that took a whole fucking year for you to correct that bond. And how dare you, for some romantic ideal, for your obsession with lust, for the good fucking time, to betray your inner child. Because Sagittarius is giving you sweet freedom. Sagittarius is letting you go on recess. Sagittarius is letting you let the hair fly in the wind. And you leave your inner child behind again. Your inner child is nudging on your shoulder. Hey, mommy, what about me? Hey, daddy, what about me? Not right now, kid. I can't hear you. You don't answer the phone. You put the inner child in danger. You leave the inner child behind. You betray the inner child because of your sensory perceptors that you have to indulge in. You have to have a good fucking time. And you're justifying it while you're betraying yourself all over again. How fucking dare you? Don't you dare do it. I'm warning you. Don't you fucking betray your inner child. Remember what it took to get to this point. Remember what it took. Stay true to yourself. Be real with yourself. Be authentic. Don't be fucking fake. Don't be a fraud. Your inner child is trusting you. Your inner child is trusting your ass. Nigga, don't fuck that shit up. Don't do it. You're gonna taste freedom. You're gonna taste it. You're gonna have experiences that are much sweeter than what you've been dealing with. When Mercury dips into Sagittarius the first time before retrograde, it's gonna present a crisis. And the crisis that you run into is because before Mercury stations retrograde, it always presents the crisis that is going to correct by the third week. Understand? Okay? By the third week, the crisis that you enter the retrograde phase in will be solved. It will be resolved. Okay? And it goes that way every time. It can only go that way. Whatever problem presents itself during the pre-retrograde phase, when Mercury starts to slow down and enter its stationing of retrograde, you are going to run into a crisis. Whatever crisis that you run into, that is the theme of Sagittarius Mercury. That's the theme. That's what lets you know what Mercury is going to solve for you. On the other side of the Mercury retrograde is a release. Okay? Every time there's a Mercury retrograde, something gets released to you after you resolve the issue. Okay? So there's always a hold. There's a hold as you work your way up to that Mercury retrograde. There's a crisis and a hold at the same time. Something's being held until you figure it out. And the crisis is there to present itself to you to make you aware. So it has to include discomfort, pain, crisis, confusion, okay? Anxiousness, doubt, a threat, something that makes you think, your world's gonna fall apart. Don't fucking panic. Calm the fuck down. You know what I mean? Calm down. Put your big boy pants on and calm down. So, by the second week, you identify the issues. You receive information, insights, and understanding about what this is, what it means, and what it's intended to guide you to. What it's intended to benefit you with as a result of passing through such experience. And it usually deals with past life themes. So you may get phone calls from the past, you may get documentations in the mail that, were written out incorrectly, emails that follow up and you can't get through to this, you can't get through to that. misunderstandings that took place. The portal is open for you to use your free will to decide how you are going to shape your destiny going forward, giving you the options for that. Okay, so you're going to get the calls from, people from, past timelines, days ago, weeks ago, years ago, decades ago. Okay, who reach back out to you, and these opportunities are there for you to decide whether or not this is what you want to do or how you want to do it. You also get insights, understanding that manifests to you, that helps you to feel more confident and in a place of clarity about where you need to go or what you need to be doing, what type of decisions that need to be made at the crossroads. Because overall, it's a crossroads crisis. What decision do I make? How do I resolve this? And by the third week, you're already working on the resolution. You're already solving the problem. And by the time it goes direct motion, you're clear of the problem. You know what I mean? And there's a release of some type of blessing that accommodates you and making that progress out of that situation. Mercury going through Sagittarius the first time, it's a reconnaissance. And you're looking into what that expansiveness looks like for you, what it means to you, okay? And that is on the themes of the house that you have, Sagittarius. Those house themes is what means expansiveness and freedom for you. It's how you realize yourself as being a free person. It's how you realize yourself as being someone who's absorbing the necessary experiences that adds to your understanding of yourself, that adds to the understanding of your life and what you're supposed to show up to your sun placement with, your north node placement, and also how you're supposed to relate to what your first house ascendant, personality is supposed to be aimed at, what it's supposed to be accomplishing. That's the confidence and understanding that goes behind that, the higher learning that goes behind that. The Lord of Sagittarius is Jupiter. Jupiter is in Cancer, okay? There's a trine that's, working out for us. It's bringing a lot of good in because it's a trine concerning Neptune, Saturn, Jupiter, and also the Scorpio stellium. And so Cancer, Jupiter, it's having us to forward everything back to security, domestic stability, a moral commitment in our life, as well as spiritual and righteous fulfillment in our life. And that means something different for every one of us. But that's what keeps us consistent with that intention. So your experiences, you're going to forward it back to that context. And the context is, in your exploration, what can I use to bring back for the village? What can I use to benefit the clan? What could I use to add to the depth of the experience of my family unit, my family experience, okay? How can I expand my experience with family through what I am expanding in my personal experiences? In other words, we are hunters and gatherers through this Sagittarius Mercury, and we're bringing back things for the village, for the clan, for the community that we identify with in order to make it a more rich experience. This could also mean you bringing certain talents back to belong to the community. You are bringing certain skill traits and resourceful people back, okay? You're getting certain phone numbers, contacts. You're starting and initiate relationships with certain people who brings talent, skill, competence, knowledge, experience, all of these different things to increase the sense of security of your clan, of your community, of your home front, of your demographic, all right? And you're reaching out and you're bringing that back, being resourceful. So that's your intention right there. And that's Vesta as a safety mechanism to make sure that you don't get self-indulgent or run into the traps of escapism or addiction because of your sensory perceptions, gratification, okay, that you might fall into behind these things, bringing it into pleasure and lust, but more so of fulfillment and freedom, okay? And fulfillment and freedom, how can I bring means of fulfillment and freedom back to my station of security, Cancer, okay? You see how that works, all right? Let's understand that. Let's understand the intention. That's very important. Juno is also here. Our commitments is traveling through Sagittarius, and we are committed to ninth house, higher learning. We are committed to understanding what it's going to require of us to rise up to this identity that we have accepted of ourselves as the authentic person. You know, I am committed to learning. I am committed to experiencing, because I realize I need understanding. I need my own experience and understanding as conviction. You know what I'm saying? So that goes with this too. Now, Mercury is in a very unique position as he's doing all of this, because he's going from Sagittarius back into Scorpio. Now, what happens when he leaves Sagittarius, this expansiveness? He's out, imagine Mercury out in a big field, okay, where he's exploring. He's being a hunter and gatherer of experiences, information, and personalities out there in the world. All right. And he's hunting and gathering so that he can bring back these assets, to bring back assets to the fort, to the group, to the clan, to the crib, to the home front. You know what I'm saying? To where your security is at in Cancer, to make sure that that is a part of that experience, a part of what forms and expands the sense of security, fulfillment, and family, love, reflecting the righteousness that you have identified with as well, not straying away from that. And when Mercury goes back into Scorpio, it's making the transformations of how psychology is relating to thought. How thought is influencing psychology, and how psychology is influencing thought. Okay, it's balancing that out. What does my feelings, what does my emotions say about what I seen, what I related to, about what I dealt with, what I went through, what I experienced, what I was exposed to? And you're bringing this back to the constitution of the self. You're bringing this back to the center of loyalty in the self, to check and see, is this decision loyal? Am I being loyal by choosing to identify with this, by choosing to bring and incorporate this into my clan, by incorporating this into my concept of what security and expansiveness and security means, Cancer, Jupiter. So you're checking in with Scorpio, because Scorpio has how your instincts and how your sense of loyalty to yourself relates to the constitution of the self at Cancer. You see what I'm saying? In other words, it's where your own constitution meets with the constitution of others, and you're realizing a peace treaty has to be made so that you remain in integrity to yours, they remain in integrity to theirs, and nobody is losing or compromising their values or what it is they believe in or dealing with. You know what I mean? So you have to check back in with that to make sure that your mindset is staying consistent with the convictions of your gut, that you have found empowerment through, because you know that it could mean giving away your means of empowerment if you're not careful. You see, and we're being very careful about that, not giving away our means of empowerment, staying loyal and true to self, not straying away from what it means to be true and loyal and sincere to the self, to be authentic to the self. So everything comes back to check in, and at that check-in, Mercury is consistently 3 times, Mercury is going to oppose Uranus, okay? And what Uranus is going to do is it's going to keep Mercury consistent with where we're going, not where we're coming from. So Uranus wants to make sure that we're in a frame of mind of where we're going. We're in a thought process of where we're headed at, not where we're coming from. Not trauma bonding and attaching to the past and different things like that, limiting ourselves and looking at matters in the context of what we've been through, but instead looking at matters as what's possible with what we know we must go through, and what we are procuring out of our experiences and expansiveness. You know what I mean? We checking in with Uranus to make sure, okay, going ahead, is this going to be significant? Going ahead, is this going to be, significant? And you're also staying consistent too. What does it mean to be loyal to myself in these innovations that I'm making inside of myself, so that I can be in a futuristic direction and concept of myself without straying away from myself. You know what I mean? So all of that is going on at the same time. To understand what this means for you personally, you want to schedule for a natal birth chart reading or inquiry so that I can give you the details behind the scenes where I can do my thing. I could do the best to, help you and support you with having that clarity, on a personal level of what this means for you. What I'm going to do next is I'm going to go into more details concerning Mars, with the retrograde, also some more details with the retrograde in Mars and what that means for all of this, Mars opposition, so you can look forward to that message as well. All right?